Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. They don't want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. One nigga out like an outbreak. Chopper start, send me the house shake. Niggas sweeter than a pound case. Eyes on your chin, better watch what your mouth say. Lean with the footballs, got a nigga tripping. Fuck it, nigga keep sipping. AK with the beam on it. Clip sold on like a lean on it. My nigga like behind ball. Move 100 pounds for a lawyer, beat the charge. Jack down in the play, watch a fuck. If a nigga try to rob, fucking hit him with them. Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. They don't want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. 100 bands on your head, get the job done. Throw it up, nigga, where you from? Whole hood hot, cause your nigga hitting licks. Ain't made a meal yet, but he still nigga rich. Stick 'em up, stick 'em up, stick 'em. How you want it, nigga? Full of the semi. Looking for the cash, searching for the bag. Young nigga wildin', throwing up flag. Shooters on the roof with a scope. Money make gon' treat you like the Pope. Keep me in the post.
Hello. I'm a little mad. Hello. I'm mad, but I'm happy at the same time to be here for this after party live. For whatever reason, YouTube decided to premiere my video whenever they felt like it and not the time that I wanted it to drop. I really live for my live premieres when I get to interact with you guys in the comments, but this is the one time we were not able to do that. But I'm gonna let it go. I am gonna let it go. It is the ultimate reason why I am happy that we are here now. If you just so happen to not catch the live premiere of the Vampire in Brooklyn review, please go and run that back after this. Stay here for this. But absolutely run that back. Now, of course, once again, this is the After Party Live. This is the 4th installment. I am on number 4. Look at me doing stuff moving outside in these YouTube streets. I'm very excited about that. Of course, we are going to discuss the movie. I'm going to introduce you guys to a guest that you probably are familiar with, but we going to act like you know. He going to introduce himself anyway. But before we do that, please get up in here and hit the like button. Like, I need to get my fantasy back from the premiere that I missed. Like, I'm really hot that I did not get to interact with you guys. So the more people that we can get in here, the better. But let's get on into it because I'm really happy to discuss this movie with my guests tonight and just everything overall. Like, this is going to be a good one. I'm in high spirits regardless of everything. Let's see. Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Like, man, you my ace boon to talk to in them premieres. I was just real salty. I'm like, why are all these comments popping up? And I like, oh, the video has been up for a whole hour and some change, and that is not the time that I set it for. But hello. Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. I haven't been seeing your notifications. Ciao. That's like a record at this point that keeps spinning on the channel. Like, you guys, I am so sorry that you guys don't get notifications. I really don't know what I could do on my end to make that happen. It's just YouTube being YouTube. Like, I apologize for that. Let's see. Hey, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. What? Oh, I was going to say, what is this? Hand pink waving. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Gina Houston. Now, we are going to go ahead and get started. I am going to bring out my guest. I am too excited that he is here. I hope he is ready to laugh and give his opinion on this movie. D, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Tyra. It's good to see you as always. I was wondering what the situation was with the premiere. Just figured you're a busy woman. So I figured, hey, maybe next time. And then, now I find out the reality. But it's okay. Listen, it's good commentary regardless. And now we have a whole open forum where we can get in even deeper and we can get into what we missed. So yes,
absolutely. I be living for them comments. We get a good 50 juicy people in there and just get a little kiki. I like that. This is like the only we have 2 ways to interact with our subs. So I feel like I missed out on something, and I don't appreciate that, YouTube gods. But thank you so much for being here, D. Are you as excited as I am to talk about this movie?
Just as much, possibly even more. So, yes.
Well, even though you have been on the channel, what feels like multiple times now, y'all, I'll be getting on these. And he ain't said it yet, but I know, like, oh, here comes Tyra rolling up with this request to be on her little raggedy channel, and I'm over it. But he keeps, doing me a favor and coming on, and I love him for it. Even though that is the fact, we are going to let him introduce himself briefly, tell them about your channel, what you do over there. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I do mean a couple, and we are going to get started. Go ahead, D, and have the screen.
Hey, everybody, this is D, movie man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you all with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. Some of you may be very familiar with that tagline, either because you're on my channel or you've just been hearing it a lot here on Tyra's channel, and I'm very, very grateful just for her graciousness and just, just being so supportive and having me on. So as far as what I do, that is a tagline you will hear if you're already on my channel. If not, you'll hopefully hear it very soon and reoccurringly. I like to get into, reviews. I like to get into my thoughts on film, the occasional television show with recaps, even with trailers. I love a good movie trailer. And so with my reactions, I like to delve into certain information and just, along with the reactions and even beyond just the technical side of things, directors, cinematography, editing, acting, like all these other aspects of film. There's also this personal side I delve into because I recognize, especially the older I get, there are some very specific emotions and memories and people that are tied to the experience of film. And it's something that goes beyond just entertainment. We can look at it that way, but if we really take the time to think about it, like there's a lot of, that's a part of us. And so there are so many aspects of ourselves and throughout the years that we can attach to, this film, in this year and, at this time of my life. So I try to really pay tribute to those memories, those times, and just celebrate this medium and just delve into everything I love. I promise you, you will not regret it if you check me out here on YouTube at capital D period space capital MOVIEMAN. Excuse me, MAN, D movie man. I would love to have you get in on some good conversation. I'm always open and welcome to anyone who wants to get on board. Would love to have you guys.
Thank you so much, D. I just, whenever you get ready to sign up for I-26 News, I will definitely be there to hear you discuss the weather. But D, I would love to know, what is the hardest thing for you about YouTube?
Oh Lord, there's
so much.
There's a few things, but to be transparent, I would say the number one thing would just be comparison. And I know that's such an obvious thing. That's the thing you're not supposed to do. They say, I think they've said like comparison is a thief of joy, which I definitely agree with. And it's not so much that I don't think that what I do isn't quality or that there, I know that I have faith in what I bring to this platform, but the algorithm will have you thinking that you're like not doing anything, or like despite your best efforts, it's just like going up a hill and you just keep thinking you're getting up there and you just start sliding back, going up again and sliding back, and then
it's tired. Like every time I hear that, I just get in my mind like, holiday, I'm trying so hard. I'm wondering out here in these YouTube streets trying so hard. And every time I think I'm getting somewhere, YouTube is really quick to throw up a roadblock. So I think all of us jump over those same hurdles with comparison. Cause I'll be looking, you kind of give that that home improvement vibe. Like you look over the fence, like, oh, look at that looks good over there. It's looking mighty easy over there in comparison to this channel. But everybody has their own race, and I'm just so blessed for everything else other than that. What video in particular of yours is your favorite?
Ooh, okay. I would say two jump out at me in particular because I don't know. It's just something about the way they came together. And it's funny because one of them just jumped up as my second highest viewed video. So one, which is the lesser technically as far as YouTube is concerned, is Last Night in Soho. Not only did I really enjoy Last Night in Soho, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe because Last Night in Soho just kind of tapped into a lot of different interests or a lot of things I appreciated. There was just something about the way I edited that and the way I put it together. There was a lot I delved into as far as old Hollywood and Mulholland Drive and Black Swan, and just there are all these parallels I threw in that it just came together that way. And just a lot of, I don't know, just something about the way I don't know, the way I just kind of put that together, and then just, I don't know, it was something about stepping back from it and looking, and just, I don't know, getting much deeper into that film. And I don't know, it's something about the way it came.
At least you have one, D, because I'd be like, all of them. I love a bunch of my videos. I could never just sit here and pick one. I do know that the ones that I love the most are the ones that I go back, like just me being full of myself. Like, let me go back and watch my video real quick. Like I'll go back, like, girl, you was funny right there. Just pumping my little, just shout, just trash. Pumping myself all the way up. So I completely understand that. And last question, what is your ultimate goal on YouTube? I know everybody, like, I have been like loving this question for the after party because every guest has something totally different that I've never thought of. Like, oh, that's what you got on this platform and that was your goal. So I would love to know what yours is in particular.
Yeah. So my ultimate goal with YouTube, if I could just boil it down to one thing, because I feel like there are plenty of avenues and directions that could take me in. But honestly, if I could find some way to cultivate a space as far as film criticism and being able to like really venture out, like I'll give you a good example. Like I've been going virtually to Sundance for like the past 3 years. And even the Sundance experience is something that came about, in the midst of the Ponderosa, as I call it, and having the drive-in premiere, and not really knowing anything about it before that. And I don't know, it came along at the right time, and so being able to delve into, and of course with Sundance, this is all independent filmmaking, but a big part of it is just wanting to continue to like shine a spotlight on independent filmmaking and independent directors, and just continuing to connect with them. I've already had that opportunity, somebody from the UK, somebody from Los Angeles, and it's just little old me. But just the fact that I've had the chance to connect, not even just connect with directors, people like directors who have said, hey, I want you to review this. Like, that is an honor, honestly. And just because it's not something that's mainstream, I mean, that's great too. But, just the fact that there are these people with these visions for their films, and they just want to hear someone, I mean, just to even request my thoughts, that's something I appreciate. So if I could just kind of get to a place where within me becoming a film critic, or just something within that, and expressing my love for film and, commentary and all that, if it could just take me to where I could do coverage for like the Cannes Film Festival or various film festivals, and, directors and artists and things like that, I would love just for it to, grow into that, or even interviews, that kind of stuff. I would love to do that.
Wow. I was not expecting that. Like, so you want to get more into the journalistic side of everything and kind of, that is great. Like, I ultimately did not really have a goal. I was like, I just want to review movies and I just want to jump on YouTube. I didn't have one. And then when I got on here, I'm like doing all this different stuff to express myself. I'm doing edits and doing, like, I feel like at this point I could do some damn stand-up, honestly.
Right.
I really do. I really do feel like I have like learned so much about myself with this, because way back when, child, you couldn't tell me that I would be on any type of platform talking to anybody, because I'm like, oh, I'm the last person you want to talk to. I don't even like people, you know what I'm saying? Right. So the fact that I could get here and, sing in front of you guys, rap, do skits, like, that freaking amazes me. I never thought that, child. I thought I was gonna get on here and give y'all these Chris Stuckmans, and I was gonna sit in my seat And I was just gonna, spin. I was like, no, I think I possess a little bit more. Let me give some more of my personality so that people can find me. And then it's, spawned all into everything you get in the struggle reviews video. So I absolutely love that, D. Now, what comes to mind when you see these people right here?
Oh boy. What comes to mind is 4 or 5. I'm thinking 5. 5-year-old me, back in the Midwest, going up to my mom after seeing the poster for this hanging somewhere in multiple places and asking my mom to watch this film.
Really? You asked to watch the Vampire in Brooklyn? That's
Uh,
amazing. I think for me, which is good for this recap also, the first movie I ever begged my mother to watch was actually Candyman, and I regret that to this day. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, why did you even go get that from the Blockbuster? Like, why you let me set myself up to not ever want to see a medicine cabinet again in my life and think somebody's in the adjacent apartment, even though I know it's rock sheet in a wall back there. Like, I ruined everything, like, for old time's sake. But this is just so classic to me. And getting into this film, like, until I like went back, I absolutely forgot that Wes Craven directed this film.
mhm.
This is like never is never mentioned. Like, of course, this isn't on the caliber with something like Scream or Nightmare on Elm Street, all the great things that he is mostly known for. But it's never a part of any conversation. What do you think about Wes Craven being a part of this film? Because going back recently to watch it and just getting into the facts, I didn't know he had such a hand in like going, okay, Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy, writers of this script. I feel like this is like really serious. He said, like, I think we should make this more comical. This was going to be an all out, like, horror movie as far as Eddie Murphy was concerned. And he said, I think, let me make this suggestion. And then it kind of turned into, oh, wow, I like these things. It'll, give some balance. Eddie is naturally funny. So he thought he could kill two birds with one stone and give you some funny all while, still giving he really thought that this was his villain. But also take on that serious role. But what do you think about Wes Craven, his legacy, or even just this film that is just kind of obsolete when you talk about his filmography?
Yeah, it's not surprising that it's not really featured as a significant part of his filmography because one, all the cast do have a certain look, and we know whether just being honest, we know what happens to the legacy of certain films when they have a predominantly something cast.
Black cast, black. Oh, you're black. You're black.
Yeah.
BLACK all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so we know how, like, when it comes to the black films, a lot of times if they don't hit a certain way, then it's easy for them to just kind of get shoved aside. And then I also think because of its reception and the way things kind of turned out, and even some of the stuff that unfortunately happened with production and all that, and it just not being probably this big, phenomenon, or just not having, not meeting expectations. It's just kind of like, okay, well, no, this is nothing compared to, Scream. This is nothing compared to like anything else that he's done. So I kind of get it. It's unfortunate, but I kind of see why that is. And then as far as Wes Craven, every time I think of Wes Craven, I think about the Mummy VHS from 1999 because I'm a big I love promos and trailers anyway, but I love the old school VHS promos. And on the one for the Mummy VHS, they had one for the old school Universal movie monsters for Alfred Hitchcock, and then the Wes Craven collection. And they literally kind of did this role. It's like they showed the Universal opening logo, and it was just like this. All of a sudden, they flashed this creepy green color. It was like the Wes Craven collection, and then they do like this film and this film and this film, and I think it was then that I was like, oh. And some of those I hadn't heard of. Some I had kind of heard stuff about, but yeah, that was my first time seeing those all the way through and understanding just all that he's done. So I really have a lot of respect for what he does, and I think I don't want to say it in a negative way, but I think watching the fifth Scream film, it kind of made me more cognizant of his vision and like his contributions. Not to say that was a horrible movie, but I could kind of just, there was something about it to where you could tell like he's not at the forefront of this right now, and I really did kind of miss that, you know, growing up and just having that eye for horror and recognizing his contributions to that. So I appreciate him for doing this.
Well, I love me some horror. This is all like I ever found myself watching, like child with my little, you know, the TV with the dial. You have to do like this.
Yep.
Oh, we were on Bounce TV. It wasn't Bounce. It was one of them other channels way back when. But you know, the old horror movies were all in effect. But in thinking of this movie and kind of how it was treated, it brought me back here. I was like, oh, this is yet another one, you know, that gives a different narrative, has, you know, a predominantly all black cast that is never mentioned in the conversation. Like, why? I think this is why people are just kind of enjoying this black renaissance of horror, because it's like we've never really gotten a moment to really just shine in this genre. Like going to, I think I reviewed this as well. Fool was everything. This was absolutely like the first time I think I got to see just a little black boy in a horror movie, a black lead in a horror movie, somebody black in a horror movie that wasn't dying. Like, especially back in the 90s, every single person in you were dying. Not only were you dying, but you were dying first. So to see, you know, him put characters like this into the forefront where it's not only a black boy, but you know, he's brilliant, and we have these mommy daddy issues here. Like it was all this capitalism and greed and this sadomasochism. It was a lot. It was a whole lot going on, and it just it had a lot of undertones, but I felt like this one, you know, it's just as, you know, forgotten as something like Vampire in Brooklyn. But be that as it may, I still love it. Dee, did you get a chance to watch my review of Vampire in Brooklyn?
Absolutely.
You already know that I was giving impressions galore. Like it's just so many freaking quotable lines. And then it just brings me back to Eddie. What is your first perception of Eddie as? I had to put them little teeth there. I felt like they went. What is your first perception of Eddie Murphy's vampire?
So at the time I was, you know, it was something new for me. So I would have probably taken it as is. Now, you know, it's giving, you know, solid as a rock. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it is. Yeah, it's an interesting look. Now, I understand in theory what it's going for, especially if we're going back to like the old school version of a vampire where it's like the long hair and they're from these other eras in time. You know, they've been alive for
it's really long hair, D. I mean, I felt like they should have gave my man some Jimmy Bones hair, not this Holiday Heart wig. Like, why y'all put this on his head? We need some pressed silky straight.
I know what they were going for, but it's like they needed somebody on set to work the wig or have a different unit or something. Yeah.
No, I had a whole new appreciation for Eddie and for this movie, and just for low key the hate train that it received. This was like Pan when it came out. It did, you know, low key recoup its budget, but it was considered like, oh, this is the worst thing Eddie Murphy, Wes Craven, Angela Bassett, all of them have ever did in their life. Like, you should be ashamed for even I was like, why is, you know, this being kind of cast aside? But then we have movies like this, which I love. This is this. This is that dark humor, campy. Is this not, you know, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of moment? Not the TV show, this old school movie from 1992 with Pee Wee Herman in it, or, you know, Ruben. I like this. Is this not this? I never like paid attention before I went back to review it, but I was like, this is giving all of this and then some. But we can go back and, you know, have such high appreciation and whatever for movies like this. Whereas, you know, we just don't get the same love for Vampire, not outside of our own circles, you know. We love it. But as far as, you know, others, it's just not received the same. How do you feel about that, D?
Yeah, but yeah, we know how that goes. I mean, randomly, I don't even know how. I think it was kind of an accident, but I just randomly saw where I was looking up like films that were received poorly. I was something
Mhm.
kind of project I was doing, and I saw where Low Down Dirty Shame had 0%.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I was like, what?
Absolutely. When I tell you, when I went to review Low Down Dirty Shame, I was like 0%. Damn, 0? This out of all movies, because we watch a lot of stuff. Low Down
Right.
Dirty Shame, Good Morning Shame, Good Morning Shame is 0%. Like, even now, like I love, I don't know if you watched Renfield. I really enjoy Renfield. Like, I was like, this is all of these movies combined. Like, show my man Eddie Murphy. So like give him his swan song for this for this movie. Cause it's like it's here and then some. Like, I just saw a whole, because this wasn't like, I don't know, once again, us, getting a little age on us and going back to watch something with a certain set of eyes. And I was like, oh, this is low key, amazing. This is low key. Like, if you're going into it, for that straight, like, oh, this isn't scary. Eddie Murphy looks, ridiculous. Like, no, if you're looking at it with a dark humor, campy,
Yeah.
satire eye, that's all there. Especially with my other, I love me some Fright Night. Love Fright Night down boots. This is that. So I just need this to be put on a pedestal with, Charlie and the rest of them, and stop playing with my folks. Let me go on and read some of these comments. Not Nick, this is Nick Ashby, baby. Like, this ain't Nick Ashby, baby. Like, this is Maximilian. My boy trying to get his freak on. So, he wasn't like, no, go and watch the video, y'all. I don't know where the impressions and all the commentary, hey, the movie man, where it all comes from, but it just literally falls out my mouth. Hello, let's see. Hey, D, showing some love once again. D is all in the chat here. Go and follow and support his channel. Let's see. I'm down for the Queen Charlotte reviews. That's definitely for you, D. Amazing. Go on over there, Gina, please.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's up, y'all? Great black vampire film from the last one, Blackula. Child, we finna get into that too, because I really want to discuss why there's such a lack of black vampires out here. Let's see. The fun fact about Eddie Murphy, he was offered the role of Eddie Valiant in, who's Eddie? Which one is that?
Eddie Valiant, the main character, detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I don't know why I was gonna go for the villain. I'm like, his name was Eddie. I haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a long time. Let's see. But turned it down. He regrets it to this day. Like, certain stuff happens for a reason, and we finna get into another role he turned down, and I was like, what? Good evening, y'all. Hello, Val. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Let's see. This is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Forget the critics. Like, absolutely. Like, once upon a time, I might have been over there with them critics. I think when you watch stuff with a certain eye, like, I don't know when I got an eye for film, but I think when you're watching stuff as a kid, you're like, oh, this isn't whatever, this is an Ellen. Like, no, this is definitely up there with everything else I just shown. Let's see, folks weren't ready for black camp horror. Speaking of black camp horror, how did you feel about The Blackening?
So like as an experience, I enjoyed The Blackening, but I do think that, like, because it's one of those things where the familiarity with it is obviously there, and so the references and the little Easter, kind of like the little hidden jokes and things like that. I appreciated that, but I think it could have like gone further. And I even said, I think it was my out of theater reaction. I had mentioned that like it kind of settles into this weird middle ground where it doesn't really go full force with the jokes and really go full force with the horror, and it's this is fine, but like push it. So that was my only issue. Like I walked out of it feeling like, oh, okay, cool. But it just could have like really like gone there.
Yeah. I felt like it could have really been something special if they had really dived into either concept. I kind of felt like, all like you all cool, but am I going to be watching The Blackening 3, in 5 years from now? Probably not. But getting back into Eddie and the lace front wig of it all, look at that chin hair. Like, y'all really allowed this to happen? Not the lace front beard. It was always giving Party City, but that is absolutely okay. I love Eddie here as this vampire. I really laughed at the fact that he really thought that like, oh, I'm finna fuck him up with it. Like this finna be scary. I'm about to, this is not even scary. Like he thought that this would be his opportunity to step into a villainous role. And it just absolutely wasn't that because it's Eddie Murphy. Like he's like so funny without trying. So even if he's trying to give, Maximilian come to suck next from the Caribbean, it's just always going to give another 48 hours, Beverly Hills Cop, donkey. Like it's just it's just so freaking funny. But what I thought was really funny was that anybody in their right mind on the side of the Candyman 1992 film thought it was a great idea to cast Eddie Murphy as Candyman. Where? I'm so glad that didn't happen. Can you see Eddie Murphy portraying Candyman?
I keep thinking about like Candyman's lines with Eddie Murphy's like voice, and it's just like,
well, if he would have said, "Be my victim," what is blood if not for shedding? Child would have passed out. Like he probably would have been given this tired Caribbean accent that is just it's just terrible. Like I just wish that somebody would have pulled him in. Like he said himself, when I stepped out on set with this damn wig, he holds that to why this movie like was panned. Like it was the wig. If I would have put that damn wig on, maybe it would have been received better. But it's just like a combination. It's these teeth here because I'm mad that they played with Eddie in these bangs. I'm never gonna forgive that. It's the wig. It's the accent. It's a whole lot of everything. It's just not solely based on the hair on his head. But yeah, I cannot see Eddie Murphy giving us any bit of Tony Todd and Candyman. Stuff happens for a reason. But just to think that if they had agreed to Eddie's demands and I guess paid him what he wanted, we would have got Candyman Eddie. I'm absolutely not here for any of that. But like, what is I guess the most, because I don't know if that might just be me. Is there a line from this movie that you just say on a regular basis?
Yes, and it's not something I can say out loud too often. But during the whole outdoor church, which to me what was a very novel idea at the time, I was like, wow, I've never been, like, I'm used to going to church, but I've never been to church outside. I was like, this is interesting. But yes, the whole part where Pastor Brown, my boy, implants the whole thought in our girl's head, and then she's just
Nikki,
like,
the whole of Babylon. Is that what you're talking
about? Babylon, like
the whole of Babylon.
Oh my gosh,
you know who it is, Nikki.
You know dang well who Nikki. Like I've said that unfortunately way too many times. Like I said, I can't say that, go around just saying that all willy-nilly, but that one takes me out.
No, I guess I'm crazy, D, because I just be Nikki. The whole just be popping off at the mouth. The one I say is like, if every day is a sunny day, then what's the sunny day? Ass is good, evil is good, and ass is good. So you get you a piece of evil ass. Woo! Like I say a whole lot of stuff. Like you can rely on me at least once a month to do some flip flopping in her shit. Like I do a whole bunch of extra stuff in this house that is just absolutely unnecessary because I'm just extra. But what I loved about Eddie's, like, well, the new appreciation, because y'all ain't having it first. This new appreciation for Eddie Murphy's interpretation of a vampire is it brought me back here. I was like, oh, it's Blackula, it's William, it's Blackula. Like, this is like this is definitely this. And I review, like, I'll just be reviewing stuff, y'all. I review Scream, Blackula Scream as well. Go and check that out. Mm-hmm. This is this. And then I was like, outside of what we have here with Eddie, what he's doing with his vampire, outside of something like the Blackula movies, we really don't have, like, at least, like, I don't know, about 3, 4, 5 new vampire flicks come out a year. And rarely do we have a black lead, a black vampire. Like, what's up with that? Why do you think there is such, and I know we know why it is, but we're going to discuss it anyway. why is there such a lack of diversity when it comes to Black vampires? And then I saw like a lot of people who were like what, I saw some comments who were asking me what this is. This is a movie by the name of Vamp from the 80s. It stars Grace Jones, some other white people, but she is a beautiful vampire. We know when she's beautiful and then she's shot, she's atrocious and just, oh, she's monstrous. But she's a vampire in this movie. Like, the fact that you have to dig and look for things means that there is a lack. Like, have you ever seen this movie?
I have not actually.
Please go and watch it. Like, Grace Jones looks gorgeous. It's giving, you don't want me boomerang energy, but it's a vampire. It's on vampire time. Like, wow, it's all of that and then some. Like, she is one of the most beautiful vampires you would ever want to see in your life. But outside of this, and then like the fact that, and I'm like, I watch a lot of movies, but I really didn't like the fact that I could name all of our, Black vampires on one hand. I was like, bop, bop, oh, that's it. This all we got?
Yeah.
D, why is this all we have?
Yeah. It's because we are not given, which is not surprising. We are rarely given the complexity to have representation in like folklore and mythology and sci-fi. Like when it comes to storytelling, not to say that it doesn't exist, it's just that even when there are things to pull from, like I grew up reading Anansi, about him. Have we seen any films really about him or about any like the talking eggs and like all these different stories? And it's like we have a rich history to pull from, but this is Hollywood, and we know that Hollywood does not, like, we see Blackness in a box, and Blackness does not extend itself to characters that have this sense of autonomy and strength and power and and I understand it might sound like I'm putting too much on it, but think about it. And outside of the sport, these are characters that have power, that have strength, that can take anything down. And so I'm sure somewhere in there, the idea of portraying anyone Black as anything other than a victim or whatever others archetype is like, no, why would we do that?
Yeah, and I loved it. I can even remember when Queen of the Dam first came out, and it wasn't just like, oh, it's Aaliyah, so we're gonna flock to the film. She was literally like low key the best thing about the film, and she had the smallest part. And it was just like, man, can we get something? Can we get something? I thought Aaliyah as Akasha was absolutely everything, and she was just not only gorgeous but just carried a certain essence. Like I'm sorry, how many pasty vampires do we need? Let us get something.
Right.
Let us get something. Like she was just so gorgeous. And then it's just literally, even if you mention like, oh, Black vampires, it's only Blade. It's only Blade. And literally even now we are, waiting and panting with our mouths open for the new Blade movie whenever that decides to drop, because this is it. Like there are so many, ways to introduce Black vampires that will be interesting. But as far as like cool, because we ain't had no cool vampires that was like, oh, I'm fucking with it. I remember watching Blade in the theater in 1998 and I had snuck out, to go watch how Stella got her groove back, but that's neither here or there. This this was so good. Like everybody was just so hyped. It kind of reminded me of kind of that uproar when people first saw T'Challa, and it was just like, well, it's a fucking Black vampire. Like, and he's cool. Like this was just everything, and I could only hope that whatever gets released, it's just holding some type of candle. Don't disappoint me. Please don't tarnish. What Wesley was able to do with his character. Just give us something. Have you seen Ganja and Hess?
I have, but I need to watch it at this age. Like I remember seeing it before, and I thought it was very, it was something very very interesting, compelling about it. Like I said, I was too young to probably appreciate the nuances of it, but it was something that definitely, the imagery of it and all that definitely stayed.
Yeah, probably, especially with it being like, it always felt, I haven't seen it in a while either, but it felt ahead of its time. Like for that to be like from the Blaxploitation era, like it was just one of those kind of one-off movies that I was like, whoa, this is something different. So like it's just that this is like all we have, y'all. This is literally all we have, and I'm just hoping to maybe expound, not even just in the pocket of just Black vampires, but just like can't we be ethereal? Can we be like, and I'm gonna pause this here because I saw someone's comment. Let me see. Oh, the Dragon Movie Guys here. Hi, guys.
Okay.
Love the live stream at Struggle Reviews TV. Thanks again for coming on my podcast a couple weeks ago. Absolutely, Dragon Movie Guy. I'm gonna always do that. Thank you so much for even just having me. Let's see. That's a hard no. I'm sure that's in terms of Eddie Murphy being Candyman.
Yes.
Hello, Dane. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Eddie Murphy voice be my victim. Let's see. Eddie wanted this to be a serious horror movie, but the studio wanted comedy. Eddie hated the decision. Yeah, but I'm like, I'm happy for the decision, low key. Like with the character that we got, I just can't see him just being like. It's always gonna be a hard sell for me to see Eddie. I can't take Eddie, as you saw in the review. It's hard to take Eddie serious when he is portraying a serious role. Like, I think it took a lot for us to just look at him for something like even Dreamgirls, and even that it has comedy. I think, like, and then we have like stuff like Dolomite, that's comedy also.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he's comedic. I think there's something called Mr. Church where he's a little bit more, serious there. But it's just like it's a hard sell, child. I'm sorry. Let's see, Max, Guido, you tell that cat to shut up or I'm gonna sugar, like don't shoot sugar. That's all you had to say, Dollface. Like, oh, this just so we're gonna get into Eddie and all of his interpretations and imitations. This is what I was looking for. There is also Marcel from Vampire's Diaries. It made me think of Our Girl Hill. Did you ever watch True Blood?
I watched it, but I didn't like watch it. I would kind of like pop in and out.
Tara here in True Blood, like this is, even if we do get vampires on TV, they're always side characters. They're always there to, prop up the white character. It's the same like tokenism, but it's just, in a vampire universe. But they're never, they did Tara wrong. She couldn't have no love interest. They just took everything away from her every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I heard about it. I heard all the recaps and stuff. I was like,
every 5 minutes, like they just did her character so bad, and it was just like, why? And then we have this. I
knew it was coming.
They can have this too. I didn't. Why he's so pale? They can absolutely have this. I guess I appreciate the offer, but did this, in the Twilight franchise, do anything for you?
I can't say it did, but it's not like it's saying a whole lot, especially when it comes to Twilight films. Not their opinion, but also I heard where Stephanie Meyer had basically said she couldn't envision a black character in this universe except as a villain, which is why this character came about the way he did. And I was like, oh, of course, makes perfect sense. And then he gets devoured. Conveniently gets devoured by the wolves in the beginning of the next film. I'm like, good night.
That is an absolutely trash statement. Like that's trash. Like where were they? I think they were like in Arizona. Like there are no black people in Arizona. Wherever the hell they were located. Then we have Miss Thing here, which you said Marcel from Vampire's Diaries. I never watched Vampire's Diaries, but Kat Graham's story and how she felt like she was treated, I think it's like infamous at this point.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I didn't know if she was a vampire. I thought she was a witch or something. I haven't checked out the show. But just, the whole thing with the hair and how they were, writing her characters once again, a Tara type situation. I can't never, have a love interest, be fleshed out, be, a fool. Like it's trash. I need somebody to come outside and give us, some quality vampires, and it's not a remake of Blade. But did you watch Interview with the Vampire, the new installment?
Yes, I did. I actually ended up on my 2022 list for favorite television shows.
Yes.
And it was one of those, and ironically with Vampire in Brooklyn, Interview with the Vampire was kind of my first initial, the 1993 film with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and Kirsten Dunst. That was actually my first kind of introduction to vampires and kind of to adult horror, because I love Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? And that was my bigger focus. But then, Interviewing the Vampire brought me into it. And so when I heard the series was coming out, they've been trying to do a Vampire Chronicles connected series for the longest. So I was excited. And it was, and obviously there were changes,
I
but
like
yeah,
them though.
yeah, I do too. Like that first episode when we get into New Orleans and Louis and his life and his family, like
Mhm.
a lot of the expanding they did and just the way that they crafted Louis as a character, I really appreciated it. It was a lot that they did with the story that I
Let's
enjoyed.
see. Do you consider Louis to be like a black vampire?
I mean,
Like, I mean,
yeah, like when you asked that, I was like, oh well. I mean, yes. I mean, I don't see. I mean, they kind of went out of their way. Like we had that whole sequence where, and I guess it depends on your criteria because we did have that whole sequence where he had the colored only,
yeah,
or white, no whites allowed, and stuff like that. So they emphasized race, but maybe
yeah.
not in a way as far as pertaining to his identity as a vampire. So it kind of depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I felt like they like emphasized it, but the way that Louis was able to move in the show, it wasn't giving colored. Vampire or not, it was giving like, hey, on a good day I could probably pass. I just I
Gotcha.
couldn't fully accept it and engross like, oh, okay, I'm loving this, new black lead, and then he has kind of an ambiguous look to himself.
Right.
So it's kind of like straddling the fence, but I mean, with his family, which was another, I was like everybody else across. I guess he got all his looks from Ray Don Chong. I don't know, but everybody else across the street was very brown. The sister was brown, the brother was brown, but he was just beige. But I mean, I guess we can take it for what it is. I thought the show was like amazing. I was like, whoa, this is really good. Like I one of them another show I meant to talk about. Like, don't fight me. I meant to talk about this one. Like, you lose track of time and things happen. But
Yeah.
even if it's coming back around, did it get renewed? Do you know if it got renewed?
Oh, it did.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, because they be taking stuff. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that it did. I will definitely make sure that I'm outside for season 2 and just to maybe do like a brief recap of that first season because this show was like low key a little slept on because it was on AMC. But
Right.
it could have been Run the World on Stars. You see what they're doing over there? Like this
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
This was absolutely awesome. But any more words on the portrayal of Eddie Murphy's vampire and his take on the character, whether it's his accent, his wig. What did you like about his interpretation of, I guess, Dracula?
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, like I said, getting older and noticing some of the goofier aspects of it, there is that. But I can't say that I didn't enjoy it, especially at that age, because it was like the perfect. I grew up watching. I saw Boomerang and Nutty Professor and all that, so this was kind of like, oh, this was kind of a departure, but it was enough to where I wasn't just completely like about to have nightmares, so to speak. Like kind of told the line and ease into it. Um,
Yeah.
even though there were a couple moments that had me wanting to run out the run out the room. But yeah, so I think it was a great introduction for me just into the fact that, and I feel like that was a lot of my childhood where I saw a lot of imagery that showed me, and even in books, along with films like this, where it was like, oh, like there is this whole diaspora of what we can be and what we represent, and so seeing that, and even like kind of with the Caribbean tie and all that, I thought it was something interesting. My favorite scene in the entire film is the dance sequence, and as silly and goofy as some aspects of the film are to me, I felt like he kind of sold it in that moment for me because I just
Yeah.
I
That
love.
one time, that one time, like he was really in his pocket. Like I said, and sequences he was in his pocket with the accent and really like selling it. And then other times it was, God damn it, shut the fuck up. I was like, shut the fuck up and drive. I'm like, what is happening? And what happened to the accent? It just kind of walked away, and you went to another country. Like
Yep.
it was, but yes, the whole dance sequence and everything is a selling point for me. I love the costuming choice. Like I wish they would have gave my man some bone silky straight or just left him as Eddie. But it's okay. I wish we could have did a little bit better with this, this facial hair. Like y'all could lay down the facial hair, right? But I do appreciate the fact that this is kind of midway between the Nutty Professor and Coming to America, and we do get Eddie Murphy portraying multiple characters per usual. How do you feel that these characters hold up to the ones from something like Coming to America or the Nutty Professor? Are they up to par with those characters?
I mean, they don't have the same cultural impact, but they still stand out to me. Like I said, Whole of Babylon is just a recurring line for me, and that whole sequence is just something you don't expect to see. And then Guido, Lord, and I don't even think I knew until I got older. At that time, I was too young. I didn't even realize Guido was Eddie Murphy until
Yeah.
like much older. So that was something interesting. I feel like he kind of did enough without going too overboard with that, because we could have had multiple characters, and then it's like, okay, this is already goofy enough. So I just think the fact that they kept it to the two was enough for me.
Yeah, I like it, and I just also really like the fact that Eddie is like, how can I say this without being disrespectful? Eddie, it's hard. Like, it's kind of like in the same breath of what I thought about John Witherspoon's, of you just kind of low key, even though later on beyond these movies, I think he has showed he has the capacity to do a little bit more. But Eddie, like, low key plays the same character all the time.
Yeah.
Eddie low key plays the same character all the time. He is, what works for him is what works for him.
Yeah.
So I do love these little pockets that, of course, Preacher Pauly is definitely 3 times removed from the damn clumps. Like, this the same. He from the same family. Preacher Pauly is giving, Oprah Winfrey. Like, it was very, it's very Nutty Professor. But I do love that these are moments for him to really dig back into his stand-up, because I can remember watching Delirious and Raw and all those other things, and the Guido type of, these are the things that he used to do. So it's kind of dipping back into that. But we're not gonna act sugar. We're not gonna act like Eddie does not, give us the same thing and kind of reheat it. We love it either way, because he's a comedian. That's what he does the best. But child, it's the same. But speaking on things being the same, being one note, god damn it, shut the fuck up and drive. We have a fellow cast member here. It's like, she is completely, child, look at that rebel mask. Oh my god. Oh, it's terrible. She is like I had never noticed like how like out there Angela Bassett's performance was in this movie in comparison to Eddie's. Like, Angela said, I'm about to get this Oscar. I don't care what movie I get it for. Angela been trying to get this Oscar since the early 90s. I don't care what I'm getting it for. If you put me in your film, I am going to try to sell every single character. Like, you have those nice little moments where you're watching something, you'd be like, oh my God, this person didn't even know what movie they was in. Like, why are they taking this movie so serious? But with, so much comedy that we have, not only coming from Eddie, but John Witherspoon and Kadeem Hardison, I feel like it works. But child, what movie do you feel like Angela thought she was in?
I don't know. Maybe they still had the serious version of the script left over, and so they were like, "Hey, we're gonna keep you. We're gonna keep you in this lane for this character, and then we'll just restructure everything else." So she was like, "Oh, okay, this is a serious, grounded horror vampire film," and she just didn't get the memo as far as like, "Oh, let's crack some jokes."
I love it because she's not really known. It's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where Eddie is just strictly known for comedy. Angela is very serious. Like, child, I'm a whole actress over here. I don't do that. Like, I'm not going forward. It was very, theater. I was like, oh, look at Angela being dramatic, child, and run in the parking lot, in the building. And, I was like, oh my God, this turned into a whole different movie. And so as soon as Angela decided to, take the reins, it was like, oh, but I felt like it's cheesy at times, because I was like, Angela, girl, this is not that movie. This is not, Malcolm. This is not, Betty Shabazz Part 5, girl. You ain't got to work this hard, Angela. Save it for something else. What I can say is, not only do I still like really love her performance, I love the way Angela looks here. Like,
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Angela looks good. Like, she always looks, hell, she looks good now. She looks so good here. Like, I wanted to go and roll up on Revlon and get me some red something. I was like, this is popping. Like, she looks good, and I'm gonna, pay that not only to, maybe, the cinematographer, maybe the makeup. It was just giving. It's like with her them tying her so immensely to the color red for the movie, and them like putting these pops of red everywhere, and it's just popping off of her. Girl, you ain't gotta do him like that. Like, she look good. She looks really, really good. Like, and you gotta look good. Like, she was really selling the fact that she thought Eddie Maximilian was sexy. Did you feel like Eddie Murphy was sexy here? Was he sexy? Could he walk up on, a woman in a dark alley and her just go, oh Lord, it's just pulling me because he just so attractive. What did you feel the sex appeal coming off of Max?
Maybe if we got something more Marcus Graham and not Dark and Lovely, it might have been possible. But they didn't stand a chance with the way they set it up. I know they were trying. They got close to the dance scene, but the rest of it was kind of like, not quite.
Child, like, and I was looking because I love me some Mojo's top 10. If it's a top 10 countdown to be had somewhere, child, I'm watching it. They have multiple lists of just, the most beautiful vampires and all this. But Angela ain't never been on it. I need somebody to put her on it. Like,
of course
the transformation was gorgeous. Like, she looked good. She looked good. I don't know why they gave her nice bangs and gave Eddie what they gave Eddie, but it was like lovely. I was just looking like, damn. She looks so freaking good. Let me get this super chat. Thank you so much. Mike has bad knees. Just dropping in for a few secs to give you props on that review. Your editing skills are getting really on point. Y'all take care. Thank you. I mean, well, what's up, Mike? Where they was at first? What you trying to say? Thank you so much, Mike, for that super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is I need them to put my girl on a list, like, but I just love the fact that even in this type of scenario that she is just that caliber of an actress to sell this. How did you feel about Angela in this role and what she was able to do with it? Because, child, you couldn't tell me that this wasn't, Interview with a Vampire, the Black Edition. Like, she was selling it.
Exactly. Yeah, she was ready for her moment. No, that's always been one of the aspects of this that I've always really enjoyed, and I feel like this is the film that really and Waiting to Exhale, kind of like right in between those two. These were the two that really like put me on to Angela Bassett as an actress, as far as discovering her at my age. And there was just something like very compelling about the character, and I think that there were times where it grounded it for me, and there were times where it also kind of made it a lot scarier. Because ironically, with some of the other stuff that went on in the film, one of the scarier parts was when she had that dream and where she was trying to get inside her house, and then a version of herself, her doppelganger, like suddenly popped up, and which had me like flipping out for whatever reason. Like the whole idea of some evil version of yourself. You can't get upstairs, you can't get inside the house. Yeah. But yeah, I thought like I don't know, just the energy she brought. Yes, we did get into masterpiece theater with I'm not going forward. Like we went overboard with some of that, but I feel like you can kind of see the touches of how this might have worked. Probably without Eddie, but you can see how this might have worked as a more serious film.
Man, I ain't want to be the one to say it, D, but if we could have gotten, a serious type of embrace of a vampire movie with, I love you, Eddie. I'm sorry. I love it, but if we could have like gotten, because we don't, even now, we just really don't. I think now we're having everybody wants to make a horror like Get Out. So nobody's really focusing on diving back into something as simplistic as a vampire. Not that we have a shortage of vampire movies or just any type of, monsters or whatever, but there's always a shortage of Black anything. So it would be nice for somebody to kind of dive back into, hey, like if this was a whole, like, let's see if she was, let me think, who is somebody that could have played opposite, her and be a vampire and just really sell it. And we just be like, oh, and it has to be somebody from, I can't put her with Lawrence Fishburne. She be with him enough. She's always pulling up with Lawrence. But, who do you think that we could have put here in this role and it would have been just, elevated and believable as a straight horror with absolutely no comedy?
With no comedy. Let me think. Is Denzel going too far?
No. Absolutely not. Like that's another one that Denzel say I don't really go over, and unless it's Fallen, and that ain't really even just that's more thriller. I don't go over into the horror side. So it would have been nice just to see somebody like that pop into this genre and really sell this highly elevated masterpiece theater of Black Dracula. I really think that would have been good. Like I absolutely love it. But not to say, I don't love this. I see Morris Chestnut, Shamar Moore. Shamar Moore.
I just thought about another one. Wesley Snipes.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely. Like,
yeah, that would have been great.
Her and Wesley had great chemistry in Waiting to Exhale. It would have been really good. Like, I need somebody to make that happen. It's never too late. It's never too late to, put these things together. Like Fallen. Hey, Tamika's Den. Thank you for being here. Fallen is my movie. Just what time is on my side. Yes, it is. Love me some good Fallen. It's a good time when we need it to be. D always laughing at me. The vampire makeup, like, yes, her vampire makeup, as y'all go watch the recap, the review, gorgeous, like gorgeous. I don't know what they were doing with Eddie and why they decided to turn him into a Klingon or something from Star Trek. I don't know what I don't know what was happening, but they decided to make it look real Party City for whatever reason. Let's see. Jerry Curl Shags couldn't tell him nothing back in the day. Is that what that's supposed to be? Is that what that's supposed to be? Let's see. Great review. Never knew about the stunt double passing. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that, and I think that is just really unfortunate that we even had that like on tape because her brother was recording everything.
Right.
I don't even think they received, like, not that was what they wanted. They didn't even like receive a payout or anything. It was just like, oh, we're gonna give you a citation or something and pay this fine, and that was just that.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Perm shaming. No, we not. No, we not, Dane. I come from them, just for me streets. No, we not. Let's see. Angela was always my favorite part of the film. Let's go ahead and get into my favorite part of the film, because I ultimately feel like, even though I love them and I love their dynamic, John Witherspoon and Kadeem Hardison, they're this movie for me. They are ultimately this movie for me. Angela is here. She is beautiful. She is acting her ass off per usual. Eddie is being Eddie. Eddie is being Eddie, trying to, sell us on Max. He does at, some points, with the whole dance. We were selling it when we took the necklace off, and it was, yes, and it got real sexual, intense. We were selling it. And then, other moments we get shut the fuck up. God damn it. It's like, oh, ho ho, oui. Ratatouille, ho ho. It was very croissant French bread. I was like, what's what is happening? But scenes like this, we were selling it. I maybe could have paid attention a little bit more if I wasn't looking at the lace on the top of it. But how did you feel about let's get into our supporting cast, about Alan Payne here as Justice, and how do you feel about Alan Payne as an actor, just period? I always felt like he was like low-key unsung, like he was just always there, but he never I don't think he ever really just got the opportunity to be center stage and really like anything that wasn't, Bounce TV. It was very, to be stop laughing, D. Those things like, which I love me some Blue Hill Avenue, but just why do you think they never just kind of, I guess, gave Alan the boost and like gave him that leading man energy?
I don't know why, because I mean, I grew up watching him. I thought he was cool enough, and this Jason's lyric. I New Jack City, if I'm remembering correctly, unless I'm mixing it. Yeah. So I think he was solid. It's just that I think sometimes, like, I think sometimes, well, not even sometimes. We know how the industry is, and it's only but so many. And I think even with the 90s, even with there being a pretty big rollout of representation in films and all that kind of stuff, it's real easy to kind of like fall in between the cracks. And so you have Wesley Snipes, you have Denzel, you have Lawrence Fishburne, you have a lot. And so it's, if you're not bringing it at a certain level, or if you're not going to cast for a certain type of film, then it's just like, it's easy to just kind of fall through there. I liked him as Justice. I thought he was a cool, supporting, character kind of love triangle-ish as far as what they tried to do there. But I thought he was cool. Like I didn't think he took away from anything in the film.
No, I felt like his chemistry with Angela was stronger than Eddie's. So
Right.
every time they had a lingering like, I care about you more than it's like, oh, is it Nikki? That's like, let me ruin it. Even though it was absolutely, you did it, you beast, but you did it. Like, even though it was intentional for him to ruin those things, I just felt like the pockets where there was like, ooh, this draw and this chemistry, I needed the same energy for Eddie, and I felt like it was no woman, no cry. I was like, oh, can we get, we need no woman, no cry energy outside of, him just continuing to kind of trying to interject himself into her life. But I like, Alan Payne as an actor. I understand, not because he's a good actor, but I can understand why he would kind of slip through the cracks. I see here it says, I always forget about him being on House of Pain for some reason. Because I think he still might be, on those. I don't know. Tyler Perry was doing something over there. I think he still might be in a few of those things, but I liked him here. Let's see. Alan Payne never did a booty call type of comedy. He did C before. He did comedy. He did C before. Let's see. That's what killed his movie career. Let's see. Trying to picture Kadeem Hardison as a vampire without flip up glasses from a different world and can't quite get there. I could absolutely get there. I could absolutely get there because I just knew at the end of this movie we were just gonna get Julius Jones Vampire in Brooklyn too. I thought we were always gonna get that one day, but that was before I grew up to read stuff like, oh, this movie was kind of low key panned and it was terrible. Like, oh, we're not getting that.
Right.
But as far as supporting, I like him here as our like low-key hero, but I like that they didn't really push it too far. Even though he is saving her, I thought it was really progressive that Rita like low-key saves herself, because it just could have easily been a men's show and she just be the damsel in distress. So I thought it was cool that even in 95 we allowed Angela to step. I told you you were a killer. Get that Tupperware out of my face. Oh Lord, it's terrible. I thought it was really cool that we still allowed her to save herself in the end. And of course he assisted. That was nice. But my favorite is this one right here. Why we didn't put Kadeem in some more comedies? Like, Kadeem is so funny. I watch a lot of freaking horror movies, especially vampire movies. Most of the time, every single vampire has a ghoul. Kadeem is a good ass ghoul. His performance here is just awesome, and I love the fact that we didn't just keep it at oh, it's a ghoul, but he's just as handsome as the vampire that he's standing next to. No, we take the American Werewolf London route. Every time we see Julius, he looks worse and worse, and he is falling apart. Kadeem is my favorite part of the movie. D, what about you?
Oh no, absolutely. Like he really like his whole like kind of not even just holding up the rear, but just a lot because I mean you have the stuff with Eddie and Angela and the rest of that, but in between that you have this as kind of a semi-central character. I mean he's kind of important in the grand scheme of things, and he's the person to kind of open up and make these discoveries and come across said vampire. So yeah, I think he really I think he takes the film in a different direction as far as the comedy, and I think it just makes it more fun and enjoyable to watch. And then you throw in Witherspoon, and it's a wrap.
I just love the fact that because with a lot of ghouls, they're just there. I was saying I've seen a lot of horrors. Hell, sometimes the ghoul don't even talk.
Right.
But we know a whole lot about ain't no smoking in the limo, Julius. We knew a whole lot about Julius. He had a whole backstory, so he was very much so a central character. I really wish whoever would have seen this and they would have put Kadeem in some more comedies. Like, I mean, he's funny. Like, not even just just this, but just even the physical like comedy and just standing up next to, even though here Eddie Murphy isn't like essentially he wasn't supposed to be funny, even though we were laughing at Eddie's ass. But when you're standing next to Eddie Murphy and you can still manage to be funny, it says a whole lot. Yeah. But how do you feel about, because I was watching this and I was like, damn, I really miss John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, R.I.P. to him. Because you know he was acting for quite some time. I think I was watching Good Times the other day, and I was like, "Damn, that's a young ass John Witherspoon."
Yep.
He has been acting for a really long time. So just to see him here, he is another one because I get which I hate because I feel like I'm being biased because you know when we talk about something like oh Gabrielle Union gives that same da 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 John Eddie they give the same thing but I appreciate it.
Exactly.
Does that make me a bad person, D? Because I feel like I was like, why am I being, you know, biased? Because I can, you know, run up and watch John Witherspoon go bang, bang, bang like 50,000 times in every single role and really give he's pops and everything.
Mhm.
He is pops. He's, you know, that older man that pops. You're gonna get a bang, bang, bang. You're gonna get a how to do, you're gonna get all of that. Those are his staples, but I'm still gonna laugh. Like I felt like this is one of the movies where he was at his funniest. But do you feel like there's a bias in what we are accepting from like a John Witherspoon? Like, oh, you give the same thing, Eddie, you give the same thing, and then like I'm like extra hard on Sinai and Gabby's ass. Like, keep on doing the same shit, Gabrielle Union. Like, because I was like, it made me think about our review. I was like, dang, I was so hard on Gabby for doing the same thing. Well, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I mean, yes, I'm gonna be honest. There is a bias there, but I also think that along with that, because I mentioned this, and I think you agreed that you know sometimes with actors and their performances, it's an extension of their own persona or personality.
Yeah.
And I think with Gabrielle, because there's so much external stuff that adds on, and because it's so much of an extension of her, and it's
Mhm.
not really likable and it's kind of obnoxious, it also kind of adds to our annoyance and frustration with the fact that these characters are so similar. Whereas, you know, John Witherspoon is like everybody's grandpa, uncle, great uncle. Like that's like so. It's just something. I don't know. There's something that we connect to when it comes to that, even if it is the same. So, like I said, I see I can definitely see the bias and kind of preferring one over the other. But even with that, I just think the way you craft yourself from film to film, even if it is the same, there's just something to be said about the way you connect with that and with the person. And if you don't connect with the person, then that also adds to your irritation or like
Mhm.
frustration as far as their acting and performances.
Cause this was hilarious. Like it's been so shout out to the wash that y'all just had me up in here watching. It's just amazing what you can go back and like I still laughed at this movie. I still thought it was funny. Like it
Absolutely.
aged really well. The jokes aren't, you know, going even though we know I'm saying the jokes with you, but I'm still, you know, laughing in the process. And it's not a whole lot of movies that you can do that with. And I definitely feel like that is because of John's and Kadeem's performance here, like it is just absolutely gold. Like, miss you, John. Bang, bang, bang. Miss you, John with the spoon. Absolutely miss you. Let me read some of these comments. Let's see. Kadeem is definitely a standout in this film. Let's see. Tyra, how you feel about Dracula 2000? Omar Epps became a vampire in that. Add Omar to the Black Vampire list. You know, it crossed my mind.
Uh,
It did. It just didn't. It wasn't like on my spine to just put it on the list, you know. I'm sorry, Omar. I just didn't, you know. And I thought about that and I was like, yeah. It just seemed so one off and like brief. It just wasn't they just popped a couple of veins on Omar and put him in the scene. It didn't do nothing for me. I'm sorry. I put him on there, Dane. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dane. I will definitely put him there. Let's see, forgot about Dracula. Yeah, I mean it's there. It's, you know, more of a forgettable horror like vampire whatever movie. First of all, I don't be watching nothing like outside of Bram Stoker's Dracula because that's my favorite. Like
listen,
that's the ultimate. Like I need y'all to do that, but with black people, I need y'all to make that happen for my folks.
that
That's about the only, you know, one that I'm just like, oh my god, this is breathtaking. Whenever somebody want to roll up and chain getting paid over here for that one, holla at your girl, holla back. Let's see, John Pops Witherspoon, absolutely. Let's see, I think it's the characters and stories that's not so much about the actors themselves. Yeah, I felt like I was a little hard on Gabby, and I just want to say, uh, My bad. Let's see. The actor that played Uncle Elroy Friday, he's also underrated. Funny, Uncle Elroy. Who plays Uncle Elroy? I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about. Soon as I got my money, I was gone. I know who you're talking about, but I just cannot remember his name right now. Let's see. Sad Tyra's still hating on the wash. Yeah, I am always gonna do it, Dane. Always gonna do it. Y'all not ever gonna make me feel like the wash was funny. It was never funny. I was childish, and you know what? It's okay. Leaving, the lovely John Witherspoon and getting into like a lesser like celebrated actor who I love, but when you see people and you like I can't remember his name. I don't really know anything about him. He's in films. Um Zakes, I think Mackay or McKee, he's a great actor. He's a great actor. Like he's another one that's kind of low key, a little unsung. I think he did a lot of I think more like Broadway type of things, but he's really good. How do you feel about his character? Because as soon as he gets there with the spooky, if you put him anywhere and tell me he's a voodoo priest or some shit, I'm gonna believe it because he just carries that kind of energy.
Yeah, another piece where it feels like we're getting the previous script, or we're getting like touches of that initial like serious story.
Mhm.
And like I always talk about how I love storytelling, but also like the oral piece of it, where you're kind of passing down history, or just fleshing out a certain history of something or background or something. So I really enjoyed this part where he just, even hearing him speak on like what his knowledge and his experience with this and what he's seen and all of that. I think it really works. Again, it's a moment that is more grounded and obviously more serious compared to a lot more of the shenanigans that we see throughout.
Have you ever seen The Serpent in the Rainbow?
Oh gosh, yes.
Why you had to do all the dramatic breaths? He was really good in The Serpent in the Rainbow. I love him there. Of course, I love him there, and I think A Rage in Harlem. I think he's in like Outbreak. He's in a lot of things, but ultimately, why you rubbing your chest? Do you have a story to share about The Serpent in the Rainbow?
No, no, because every time I think, because there are different fears that certain films unlock, and every time I think about that film, I think about when that stuff got blown in my boy's face, and then he could move, and the car, yes,
Well,
that's
but
like one of those.
don't bury me. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, that's one of those kind of little small. It's not something that's ever present in my mind. But that's one of those small weird fears. Because that whole thing where you, even when you're asleep and you can't move and you're not fully awake, and then in between, that is the worst thing in the world to me. So when I saw that, I was like, no. So yeah.
Yeah, once again, another, slept on and have some black people there. So we don't really, discuss that one by Wes Craven like we discussed some of the other ones.
Yep.
But what we do discuss is the whole of Babylon. How do you feel about Simbi Kelly in this role and just her as an actress overall? Like, they should do a good job here representing for the hoes. Because the thirst was thirsting and the thirst was real. It was a whole lot of Nikki. How did you feel about her character? Because I was watching this, I was like, damn, you couldn't check beyond the room, Angela. You couldn't come stop me. You didn't call me or nothing, girl. You just child baby Nikki. That was it. It was like, well, damn, all right. I guess we was just really roommates. How did you feel? How did you feel about the whole of Babylon and the briefness that we got of Simbi? Cindy's always someone that, because I grew up watching Third Rock from the Sun. I loved her in that, and I loved her as course. We can transform from that and be on something like Martin and be Laquita.
Yeah,
She clearly has some range to do, a whole lot of other things. But once again, like a lot of the other actors here, she was one of those who was just kind of low key, looked over. And sadly, when you see her, you're like, oh, that's Laquita in the whole Babylon from Vampire in Brooklyn. But how did you feel about her performance here in the movie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I had, it was kind of the same thing where I was familiar with her from more so Martin at the time, and I kind of got into Third Rock from the Sun later. But yeah, so I was familiar with her for that reason. It's funny because I didn't understand how cameras work or how camera angles and shots work. So
Mhm.
when our main vampire friend is leaving the apartment, and you see that whole thing where you creep down, and then all of a sudden she grabs him. I was like, is she a vampire too? Like I was thinking that, and so then when she got murked, I was like,
Not murked.
I was like, oh, I guess not. So that would have been an interesting twist, and I thought it was interesting how they did the whole, Rita's vision, so to speak, and then what ends up happening to her and what she ends up
Yeah,
painting instead.
I like that. I wanted some more serious D. Like once again, like you said, that was maybe some of those leftover serious notes from the script. Like we're just gonna kind of dabble in it and like, oh, she paints the things she sees in her dreams. I'm like, we got whole material here that we kind of opted out, just for
Right.
comedy. But you can't have it both ways. I want something serious, but at the same time, I can't really see Eddie. I don't know. I guess it would have to be something that if they were still gonna have that wig on him and them little teeth, then no. But if the look was maybe gonna be different, if we wasn't gonna be coming from the Caribbean island, maybe, maybe y'all could have sold it. Like he could have just been a regular vampire. But I guess we can't have it both ways. But I would really be interested to see. Let me not say that for somebody pop up with a remake.
Mhm.
Like what does a serious vampire in Brooklyn look like?
That is a good question. I was gonna say really quickly, Simbi was also in Masquerade. I think you did
Oh,
a
that's
review
my
of that one.
joint.
Yeah, she ended up marrying Cress Williams as well. So yeah, I always
Mhm.
think about her for that film too.
Oh, there we
But
go there. I was so mad when Chris left her for the no, never mind. They were married for quite some time.
it was, yeah. But yeah, I could see it. I think the potential is there. It's just a matter of casting, and then just what kind of story do you want to tell, and then how do because like you said, the pieces are there, and there are some things that really are interesting when they do kind of delve into the more serious side of things. It's just how do you make that work with these other characters with the vampire, and then how do you tie that into this kind of, I guess, urban landscape, the city.
Urban. It was so urban.
Of course.
Like, and what do you think the legacy of Vampire in Brooklyn is? Would you be here for a part two
I don't
or
know.
or a remake? Let me say that.
I know the remakes are tired, but it's kind of one of those things where people say that rather than remake, because the problem is they like to remake things that are just fine and that already have been cemented,
Yeah.
in the here and now, or just in film history or whatever it is, cultural significance and all that. And we do talk about films that maybe didn't get or weren't the best, wasted its potential or could have done more, and those could be remade. So I think Vampire in Brooklyn still stands, but since we do see some films that take a kind of a completely different approach, some remakes, not a whole lot of them. A good
Yeah.
example is The Fly, where
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum, a completely different tone from
Mhm.
from the 50s, and the whole vibe of that. And so, if they could really delve into it being something darker, or maybe running with that whole Caribbean idea or mythology as some kind of offshoot, I think it could
Yeah.
work. It's just a matter of how you construct the story.
Yeah, sadly, this will maybe be the one time that I'm outside for, a revamp, remake, serious, undertones Vampire in Brooklyn. We still have this. I still love this. This is still funny, but I would like really be curious to see, a urban setting, as Dee would say, and, a black, vampire. And it doesn't even, just have to be a urban anything, but
Right.
just it's been and Blade is Blade, but Blade is more of, action. Blade
Mhm.
is low key T'Challa. Blade is T'Challa with vampire fangs. Like Blade is, a whole different caliber. Like it's like almost kind of like a superhero s type of thing with him. I don't know. It just doesn't give like. And then of course, he was trying to oppose from drinking any blood. So there's that thing there, and the synthetic thing, and it's an action kung fu type of situation. We there to see Wesley chop off heads and kick ass.
Exactly.
Here, I would like to see some romantic vampire situation with some black people in it. I think that would be really good because off the dome, I can't think of one vampire movie that stars two black leads that's serious and it's been, released in the past decade. Do you have anything? Do you watch a lot of stuff?
You said the past decade.
Yeah. What you
I
got?
might be missing something, but nothing is coming to mind. Not in the past.
I can't think of anything, so I think that this would be an ultimate. Not even just like it don't have to be old vampire in Brooklyn. Like you can do vampire. Hey, you can be the vampire in Chicago for all I care.
Right.
Just just maybe just take the premise of putting two black people in a vampire film. Like we don't really do that. But I'm gonna read the rest of these comments here. Like, D, you have been absolutely awesome. If you didn't see my Vampire in Brooklyn review, please go and run it back. Like, I'm so upset at YouTube for effing my stuff up. Shetty, like, I'm about to give them the Vampire in Brooklyn sitting in the backseat Eddie voice because y'all had one job. Let's see, Vampire in Brooklyn 2, directed by Jordan Peele, starring John David Washington as a Blumhouse style serious horror vampire flick. We was on I don't know. I'm still like in the middle with John David Washington, and it's just because I'm biased because I just see like Denzel Light, and I be trying to give that man just his own spotlight because he's very capable, but just if you close your eyes, I just like, oh, it's your daddy, but it's not. It's you. I just it be playing with my head, but I can see that. I could definitely see that. What do you think about this idea?
No, I'm not mad at it. Now it just kind of depends. Like with Jordan Peele, I don't want him to get too stuck in one lane, so I'm fine with it being Jordan Peele. But also if we get someone kind of like someone with his same kind of vision where it's something original, we're kind of getting original ideas. So that's why I would be here for Jordan Peele, but also just with fresh eyes and something different because I know that's kind of been a lane for him. But yeah, I don't know what you mean about John David Washington. Like I'm cool with him, but I'm not even just talking about Denzel, but I think maybe what's missing for me is some charisma and screen presence. Like it's not completely devoid of it, but I think he's still working on building that completely because it's not 100% yet.
Yeah, I think it's because we didn't like see any build up. It felt like a little nepotism. Like he was like boom, like rolls. I was like, oh, all right. He gonna be he the lead in that? Like didn't he just get here? So there hasn't been, a whole lot of build up to just go like, oh, this is, how I give nuance. I don't know how long the man has been, perfecting his craft or anything, but it did kind of feel like we blinked and it was Black Klansman and then it was just like boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh, he in everything. Let's see. If they remake Vampire in Brooklyn, they should set his origins in Haiti, not Jamaica. I would be here for all of that. I'm here for a little bit of everything. Like as long as it's the person who know how to do accents and it's not Eddie, I'm here for all of that. Let's see. Give us Vampire in Brooklyn 2 with Angela and lean into the drama. What Angela gonna be doing now? Like, oh, I remember when I don't because Angela is gorgeous, but Angela is of a certain age. I can't see her like is she gonna be the mother to like, oh, I remember babe back in Brooklyn when a nigga named Maximilian rolled up on me. He turned a crack house into a rose petal palace and was sucking on my neck, and I said I wasn't going forward. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where we could go with that. There's a plethora of roles, of course, that Miss Angela could take on, but I don't see her being the lead love interest now in one of those things. But hey, we did step outside for American Horror Story and her being Madam. Yes, all that good stuff. So hey, we might give Angela some braids, and all of a sudden she 30. Let's see. We need a good horror movie in today's terms. Where is that, Nicole? Where is it? I can't even. Everything just feels like it wants to make a statement and be more on the political side. and we are leaving. It's just like, no, it has to say something. There has to be a bigger, and I love, things that make you think, but it's like, oh, it worked for Jordan Peele, so we're all going to try to hop out and kind of do a whole lot of the same things if we are a Black director. I just want some other stuff. Everything doesn't have to be about social commentary.
But what would you say? What would you say the commentary was for Bad Hair?
Why would you bring that up in front of people, D? Yeah. I watched Bad Hair that one time. I watched Bad Hair that one time. It will be D didn't just really make me upset. Just kidding. Just kidding. It didn't. It felt like it had something it wanted to say, and we kind of got lost in the sauce with a whole bunch of things. I'm not really. I I don't really have any good things to say because I haven't watched it beyond that one time, and I do remember reviewing it. I don't even know what I said, but I know that I was ranting, and it was a bunch of tap tap tap. It. I don't know. D, help me out because I just don't. There is commentary to be had on Black women and Black hair and how it's weaponized. Why I can't wear my naps to work, like why my messy bun ain't equal to her messy bun. There's a whole conversation, but I don't think Bad Hair really got into the root of that conversation. No pun intended. How did you feel about Bad Hair?
Well, I mean, I didn't make it to the end, so I mean, I think
what?
I just kept falling asleep after a certain point. I could tell. Usually, when I fall asleep, that's my body trying to kick in and say, like, "No, save yourself from this. Like, don't subject yourself to this anymore. Sleep, 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 sleep." So once my body kept doing that, I was like, "Okay, fine. I'm just gonna like let go and just leave it alone." I meant to finish it, and I was just like, "Is it really worth it?" I don't know.
I finished it so that I could review it. I think it was like low key one of my first videos to like, oh my God, it got like 1,000 views. I'm outside. I think it was like one of those situations. Like that was really like the beginning stages of struggle, child. I don't even think y'all ain't get no intro, no outro. It was just, what's up? Y'all finna get these lines. Let's see. I watched the recent Candy. Nicole, you just now watching the new Candyman? Like, meh. Yeah. Jordan Peele have sons. Yeah, I think Jordan Peele was a part of that one too on the production side, right? On the that Candyman.
Yeah, executive producer, I believe.
Yeah.
Or producer, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so he do have a couple of sons. It's still, social commentary. It wasn't, horrible, but it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Let's see. Bad Hair Vamp is part of the franchise Vampire in Brooklyn 2. Vamp should have a Jerry curl. You know what? I'm not. Damien just come here to start.
Question. Do we need to get? Because I know that's a scene you enjoyed. So do we need to get another? But just amp it up even more. Do we need another intimate vampire-esque scene where we're getting scratches and bopped upside the head and pulling open shirts and things like that?
I'm outside for all of that. I'm always outside for some sex and some sexual tension in a film. Like, let's go. I'm always outside for gripping some sheets and scratching some backs. Let us see some good love on these screens. I don't know why y'all always trying to keep our Black love and sex all private. Everybody else be outside. Let us come outside too. You already know. Like, don't threaten me with a good time. I will absolutely be here to watch all of that. But this has been great. Like I'm just hoping that in the future we get not even just vampire horror, but just get our Black people in the genre. Like I want some more. I think if we yell to the rooftop one more time to let us into the horror genre and some damn sci-fi, we gonna choke on a biscuit. Like we're gonna like absolutely choke on the biscuit. But I hope to get something more to talk about in the future to where we don't have to just strictly refer and reflect on old movies from the past, though we may love them, to go like, oh, like, okay. But I want to ask you, have you seen Dolores Roach?
No, I had just heard about it. I've been hearing some rumblings about it before it came out. Uh-oh, tell me about it.
It's so good, y'all.
Okay.
It is so good, like so freaking good. I had like the best time I've had in a minute with that show. It has 8 episodes. They're 30 minutes long, so you're sitting there. You don't even feel like you're sitting there for I guess 4 hours. So good.
Cool.
So freaking good, and I'm looking forward to season 2. I will most definitely be dropping a split review for the breakdown of that show like soon, because I was like, oh, why is everybody in my comments telling me, can you just do, have you seen the Lord? I was like, I'll look at it. Then, somebody slid up with a few dollars and made me look at it a little quicker. But I was like, oh, this is good. I would have just talked about this off the radio. Dollars are great, but I would have talked about this just period. It is really good, D. Like, it is good. Once again, getting into satire, campy, dark horror. It is all of that, and then some. Multifaceted cast, like representation across the board.
Mhm.
Yeah, all the boxes were checked as far as I'm concerned, and
Okay.
very very interesting. Like, I think you'll enjoy it. Now there are certain scenes that have me like, what do you want to talk about this? There are,
Um,
some scenes that are like, because I be here for the raunchy, but it's like past raunchy. It's like, oh no, that left a
wait,
bad taste in my throat.
wait, so like idle, weird, raunchy, or
Um, no, I don't know what's gonna step on the idol anytime soon, but no, there is there's because it's mostly so like a little like body horror type situations, but outside of that, it's certain things in a sexual nature that just like, oh, but they're very brief, and it's just maybe here and there, maybe it's 8 episodes, so maybe once or maybe twice, I don't know, but
okay.
but I was like, oh god. So I don't know, maybe that'll be a scene that you skip. My ass, I'm gonna talk about.
Of course.
But I feel like you would really enjoy the show. Like,
Okay.
please go and check it out. These people down here talking about follow the drip. We about to get out of here. We about to get out of here. Let's see. I enjoyed Dolores Roach. I binged the whole thing. Yes, it was so good. I cannot wait to talk about it. Tell me if you didn't do no follow the drip, y'all. I just want some soul glow so bad. But I am gonna give you the screen yet again to introduce yourself to the folks. Let them know what you have going on over there. Get your ass over there and subscribe to the channel. Stop playing in our face. Like, shut the fuck up. Get over there and go where you were supposed to go. Like, please go ahead, D, and tell the people where they can find you.
Yes. Well, this has been awesome as always. Again, I am the Movie Man, and I am here to offer reviews and reactions and the occasional TV show recap. I really just am all about just giving good commentary. I'm about delving into all these interesting aspects of film, of directors, of cinematography, and so much more. And even with my TV show recaps, I like giving you a little bit of information. With Queen Charlotte, it's not just what happens in the show, but it's about like historical context for certain things, or certain things that come to mind, or certain things that I've learned as far as personal history and world history or things like that. So I've been trying to knock these reviews out. Have my out of theater reactions for shorts. So in between like my long form videos and reviews, you can also check out my shorts and just kind of get a quick thought. I just saw Mission Impossible, the newest Mission Impossible film, I believe it was this past Thursday, and had some good things to say. And then just in general, I've been knocking out a lot of advanced screenings for films like Run Rabbit Run and No Hard Feelings, same for Master Gardener, and Joyride, which is my latest review. And I'm hoping to knock out a lot more from some of the films I've seen at Sundance, and also just being open to seeing what the people want as well. And just trying to go from there, keep building, keep growing, and just really foster some community, which I've already thankfully have had the opportunity to establish with awesome people like Tyra. So, in the same way that she's supported me and helped me to get to where I am, I would appreciate it so much if you'd be willing to do the same. Very, very grateful.
Oh, absolutely love that, D. Once again, his link is, down below. Click it and go over there and see what he has going on. It's always something amazing and something fresh and new. You can stay on my channel all day and get the oldies. Go on over there and, get into some brand new films. Hello, Coffee with Cassie. Let's see, I am patiently waiting for the Bamboozle review. I'm so thrilled about that one. Thank you. That one, getting into what I have coming up on the channel. I am definitely getting into Bamboozled this Sunday. I'm interested to hear what I have to say too. I don't ever know till I get there. I never know until I get there, and I will be watching Bamboozle tomorrow and taking my notes for it. So we will see what happens. Thursday, I will be dropping my review for Joanna Man. Joanna, we're gonna be talking about Joanna Man, and I will also have my after party live here with my guest Muchella. So please be on the lookout for that. And when I say be on the lookout, I mean that cold, so like hard, like hard. Be on the lookout. You will not be notified. I'm getting y'all be testing me. I told y'all. YouTube is not going to notify you of really anything on this channel. So I'm not saying, I'm not trying to attack anybody to just be, following my every, move on the community tab or, on the Instagram. But most often those are the places that you will get into what I have coming up because child, they're not gonna tell y'all nothing. So be on the lookout for Joanna Man this Thursday and also Bamboozled this Sunday. Like D, I'm trying to crank them out. It's so hard. It's so freaking hard. Man tan with eat and sleep. Yes, it's a whole lot to freaking cover. Let's see. I will definitely be subscribing to his channel. Thank you so much, Coffee with Cassie. We greatly appreciate it. I see D over there trying to climb. I love when we get 1,100. It's like, yeah, come on, let's go. Look at that. Look at them digits. Lets us know that we are growing. But thank you guys so much for being here with us. We will most definitely be back again. Like D is clearly a channel staple. So get used to looking at his face. I am so glad, to have him here and just to have you guys here to interact with me. Please be on the lookout this Thursday for those videos that we have coming, as well as what D has going on. We will definitely see you guys. Oh, child, Saturday for Run the World. D and I link up every Saturday for Run the World. So if you care to come over there for that, we are there every Saturday, between really low key 3:30 to discuss that. And this will be the last time, like Maki Dada, this is the last time that we have to talk about that. So we definitely have to, find a new show. The outro is not here, so y'all don't be expecting it. I was tired today. Y'all know I'm gonna get off of here, but y'all know they put New York Undercover on Prime. I was just on that good episode where Ice-T had popped out. It was getting real juicy. I just hate the fact that I can get into some old nostalgia TV and we ain't got shit to watch on TV right now. But New York Undercover was popping like before I got on here. I'm trying to get to that. But I love you guys so much. I will see you guys, for what we have in store next. Goodbye. Goodbye. Go to sleep. Go watch my review for Vampire in Brooklyn if you missed it. But thank you guys.